Welcome to the deep dive. Ready to dive into some deep waters?
Oh,
We're tackling the Epicurean Paradox today.
Oh, the classic.
And we've got a really fascinating collection of texts for this one. Excerpts from the Bible.
The Quran as well.
Yeah, the Quran. A lot of different perspectives, all wrestling with this age-old question.
Yeah.
If God is all-powerful and good,
Mm-hmm.
why is there so much suffering in the world?
A question that's haunted theologians and philosophers
Right.
for centuries. It still challenges us today.
It's a total mind bender because on the one hand, we
Yeah.
have this image of a loving,
Mm.
all-powerful God,
Yeah.
but then we see all this pain and suffering. It's hard to reconcile those two things.
The Epicurean Paradox really lays that out.
Right.
It says if God is truly all-powerful and all good, he wouldn't allow evil to exist. So either God isn't as powerful as we think, or he isn't as good,
Oh,
or maybe he doesn't exist at all.
that's a bit bleak.
Yeah.
But these texts we've got, they offer some different perspectives, right?
They do. They really try to make sense of this.
Yeah.
And one of the key ideas is God's transcendence.
Transcendence.
Yeah, this idea is big in Augustine's writings.
Yeah.
It suggests that God exists outside of, our human experience.
So God's not, like, sitting up in heaven watching us suffer.
Not exactly. It's more complex than that.
Okay.
He might have created the world,
Right?
set things in motion,
Yeah.
but he's not, micromanaging every detail.
Okay, I see how transcendence kind of fits in.
Yeah,
But it still doesn't explain why evil exists, right?
you're right. And that's where another idea comes in. Evil as a privation of goodness.
Privation of goodness.
This was championed by Augustine and Aquinas.
Mm.
They said that evil isn't a thing in itself, like a force created by God.
Mm.
They said it's a lack, an absence of goodness.
Oh, like darkness is the absence of light.
That's it.
Okay.
It's a corruption of what God intended, a kind of cosmic glitch.
Wow. That's a new way to think about it.
Yeah?
But if evil is a corruption of goodness, where did the corruption come from?
Ah, good question.
Did God create something that was, like, inherently corruptible?
This brings us to free will.
Free will.
These texts emphasize that humans can choose between good and evil,
Right.
and sometimes those choices lead to suffering.
So is God off the hook then? It's all our fault?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
The text suggests that God might allow things to happen for a greater purpose.
A greater purpose? What kind of purpose could justify all this suffering?
Well, they offer several possibilities.
Okay.
One idea is that suffering is a test of faith. The story of Job in the Bible is a good example.
Right.
Job was a righteous man who endured so much.
Yeah. It's powerful, but it's so tough to read.
But his faith never wavered.
Yeah, true.
It shows how faith can be a source of strength.
Right.
Another idea is that suffering can lead to spiritual growth.
Spiritual growth.
Yeah, like a really tough workout that makes you stronger.
Makes sense.
Not always pleasant.
No.
But it can lead to positive changes.
This idea of suffering having a purpose, it's challenging. But it's interesting. Before we get too deep into that,
Yeah.
let's talk about good and evil themselves. How do these texts define them? And what do they say about choosing one over the other?
Yeah, that's a great segue. That takes us to some of the most thought-provoking stuff in these texts.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's dive in. Welcome back. We're deep in the Epicurean Paradox. And,
Yeah, these big questions about God and goodness.
right. And you were asking about our responsibility to choose good.
Yeah. If God is all-knowing,
Mm-hmm.
has a plan for everything, do our choices even matter?
A great question. The text offers some really interesting takes on this.
Yeah.
One thing that's clear,
Yeah.
both the Bible and the Quran
Yeah.
emphasize living a moral life.
Right.
They both lay out guidelines like the 10 Commandments or the 5 Pillars of Islam.
So it's not just about believing, it's about acting accordingly.
Exactly. And that's where free will comes in.
Okay.
We have the capacity to choose. Right from wrong, to follow God's guidance or not.
And those choices have consequences.
Yeah, both in this life and the next, they say.
That raises the stakes.
It does, but it's empowering too.
Empowering.
Yeah, we're not puppets.
Right.
We have agency. We can shape our destinies,
Okay, I see that.
contribute to the world.
But doesn't that also mean we're responsible for the bad stuff?
That's a tough one. These texts acknowledge that we're complex,
Yeah.
capable of great love, but
Mhm.
also terrible things. The Bible has so many stories
Right.
about bad choices. Adam and Eve, betrayals, wars.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
But there's also redemption,
Yeah, that's true.
that no matter what, you can find your way back.
Right, always a way back.
Repentance and forgiveness are central, both in the Bible and the Quran.
That's comforting.
It is. God's mercy is always there.
It means we can mess up,
Yeah.
cause harm, but there's still hope.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic relationship, not a static one.
This reminds me of we were talking about evil as a corruption of truth.
Oh, yeah.
How does that fit in with all this?
I'm glad you brought that up. Think about how Satan is portrayed
Yeah.
as a deceiver, the father of lies.
Right.
He distorts the truth, tempts people away from God.
Like he's trying to hack our minds or something.
Right. And the texts say we need to be vigilant,
Okay.
guard against those influences.
So much misinformation out there today.
Exactly.
It's hard to know what's real.
And it's not just individual choices, it's collective too.
Right.
When we embrace truth, we build a better world.
Okay.
But if we fall for deception, we perpetuate the bad stuff.
So it's about our responsibility to each other too.
It is. Both the Bible and the Quran talk about social justice, caring for the vulnerable,
Yeah.
building a world where everyone can flourish.
Wow. This is getting pretty deep.
It is. And there's another layer to this.
Oh.
We haven't even talked about heaven, earth, and hell.
Okay. Yeah. How does that all fit in?
They provide a framework for understanding
Right.
the ultimate consequences of our choices.
I'm ready. What do these texts say about those realms? We've been talking about, some big stuff, free will, good and evil, choosing the right path. And I want to know, where do heaven, earth, and hell fit into all this? What do they say about the ultimate consequences?
It's the key part of how these texts frame our whole existence. Both the Bible and the Quran describe heaven as, this realm of pure bliss.
Okay.
No more suffering, no evil.
It's a paradise.
Yeah, often described as a garden, a city of light. The righteous are rewarded.
That makes all this earthly striving worth it, right?
Right. But what about hell?
Yeah. Those descriptions can be pretty scary.
Yeah, the imagery is intense,
Yeah.
but it's metaphorical. Hell, in these texts, it's not just a place. It's the ultimate separation from God,
Okay.
the spiritual anguish of rejecting his grace.
I see. So it's not physical punishment, it's spiritual.
Right. And earth.
Yeah, where does that fit in?
Earth is like a testing ground,
Okay.
a temporary realm where we exercise our free will, learn, grow, and choose our destiny.
Like we're in school.
Exactly. A cosmic school for the soul.
A school for the soul.
It's where good and evil collide.
Right.
And our choices shape who we are.
I see how it all connects now. The Epicurean Paradox, good and evil.
Yeah.
Free will, heaven, earth, and hell.
Yeah.
It's all part of the same story.
It is a complex tapestry.
Yeah, it really is.
These texts, they don't give simple answers. They're
Right.
challenges to think,
Yeah.
find our own understanding.
That's what I like about this.
Yeah.
It's not about dogma. It's about asking the big questions.
Exploring different perspectives.
Yeah.
Finding what resonates with us.
And that's why they're still so relevant today.
Exactly.
What would you say is the biggest takeaway?
I think it's that we have a choice.
We do.
We can choose love over hate,
Right.
compassion over cruelty.
Truth over lies.
Those choices matter,
Yeah.
not just for us, but for the whole world.
It's powerful.
It is.
A reminder that even with all the darkness, there's still hope.
There is.
We have the capacity for good, and our choices make a difference.
And we're not alone in this journey. God's always with us,
Yeah.
offering guidance, strength, and forgiveness.
It's been amazing exploring these ideas with you.
It's been my pleasure.
Thanks for sharing your insights.
I hope this has sparked some curiosity, encouraged everyone to keep exploring.
Absolutely. To our listeners, thanks for joining us.
Keep questioning, keep seeking.
Keep diving deep into those mysteries of life.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.